Hi, and welcome to the lecture on dramatic criticism. So, dramatic criticism really refers to the fact that the life of a play continues after its production in the minds of the audience. Think of this in terms of going out for coffee after the play and seeing what you come up with as far as what you feel like talking about. This is known as dramatic analysis. It can be a little bit more formal in the terms of somebody who's hired to do it as opposed to the average audience member. But when dramatic analysis is formalized, it's known as criticism. And when this occurs within the artistic team, it's known as dramaturgy. And what I mean by the artistic team is somebody who's actually a part of the team of people who are putting the play on, rather than somebody from the outside who comes and just sees the final product. So a director might actually have a dramaturg working alongside him or her as they're producing the play, as they're in rehearsals. And this can be very, very helpful. It's somebody who helps them research the play, so the director isn't having to do all that work by themselves. The dramatic criticism provides an informed response to the play, whether it's afterwards or during the process of it. So we think of five critical and dramaturgical perspectives. First, you want to look at the social significance, the engaging discussion by revealed complexity of social or political issues. What is going on in the play that could be interpreted as a social or political issue? You also want to look at the human significance. How does it transcend to the social to present universal issues? What is the artistic quality? How does it synthesize the ideas and the aesthetic vision? For example, do you want it to be realistic and look like absolutely, a real kitchen or a real living room, or do you want it to be broader and more symbolized? So that's an important question. And what does that mean about the play itself is another important question. I'm doing a play right now where a woman has lost her memory. And so you want to think about, what does that look like on a stage? Do you have pieces of scenery that disappear or that reappear as she's losing her memory? So that's one way that the artistic quality is looked at in terms of the context of the play. And also the relationship to theater itself. Does it converse with theater history and convention? How can we look to the past to get ideas for how to tell this play? What works on stage and what doesn't? And what's the entertainment value? Can it really hold the attention of the audience? Are we going to make them laugh? Are we going to make them cry? Entertainment, remember, doesn't necessarily mean laughing. It doesn't necessarily mean the audience is going to be laughing and having a good time. It could also just mean what holds their attention. So it could still be very dramatic or scary and also be very entertaining at the same time. So when we look at professional criticism, we're talking about criticism that occurs on amateur and professional levels. An amateur, somebody who writes blogs, somebody who starts conversations online, or who goes out for coffee afterwards. But then you have professional criticism, which could be in the form of newspaper reviews, which provide an immediate response, scholarly reviews that is written in something that's shared among the academics of the field, that provides a more historical and theoretical response. It compares it to theater history, it compares it to the past, it compares it to the trends in the movement. Whereas the newspaper reviews are going to be more written for the average audience member who wants to just know, is this an entertaining play? But all reviews analyze the structure, the meaning, and the significance of the play. And one assignment you're going to do is you're going to look at a couple of reviews and see if you can find out all of that. So dramaturgy, we talk about this in Origins of the German Enlightenment. This first dramaturg we can say is Gotthold Lessing. It really only gained popularity recently in the US, and by recently we mean the last 50 years. The dramaturg has a variety of functions. They could be helping select scripts. If you're a dramaturg for a very large organization, for example, you might be out there looking at what new plays are being written and what is the context of those plays in terms of your company. So that's one thing a dramaturg can be hired to do. Another one is to develop text into production-ready pieces. So they could be actually taking a text and saying, how can this actually translate into performance? Maybe they get a team of actors together to just read through the play, just so the director can hear what it sounds like before they decide if they want to do it or how they're going to do it. Also researching historical and social background. I actually have a student doing this for me right now for the next play that I'm directing. What he's doing is he's going out and he's researching, for example, other productions of the play and what they've done. He's researching reviews and what other people have said about it. He's researching the social issues that are brought up in the play, like the amnesia, and there's some domestic abuse in there that we want to make sure we understand the historical context of. So we're researching those things to see what we can bring to the table when we actually sit down and have rehearsals. And also an in-house critic of the work. A dramaturg might be somebody who comes and watches some rehearsals and gives the director some feedback as to how the structure is working, because sometimes the director gets so bogged down in seeing it every day that they can't get a sense of what the big picture is like. So a dramaturg can have a lot of great functions that help make sure the story is being told the way that the director wants and the way that the company wants. And essentially, you can also say that we are critics. Certainly, audience members keep the production honest by offering real, knowledgeable reactions. Sometimes actors would actually prefer non-trained theater people to come in and watch their shows rather than a team of experts, so to speak, because then they get real, honest reactions without all of that historical context in mind. So the different types of critics that your book talks about that I want you to look at in more detail, but for here we'll just go over them briefly. An observant critic is somebody who comes in with an open mind, really has no idea what they're comparing this to. They just want to be open to whatever they see. An informed critic is somebody who does come in with contextual knowledge. They know the script, they know what's supposed to happen in the script, and they just want to see how it compares to other things. A sensitive critic is someone who's more receptive to the experience. They're going to be a little bit more open to the emotions of what's happening on stage and see if they can get moved by that. A demanding critic is someone with very, very high standards, someone who's not really willing to suspend their disbelief very far. They're going to make sure that the play does that for them, and they're going to have high standards for that. An articulate critic is someone who's able to deepen the reception, somebody who can really articulate exactly how this play made them feel in all those different aspects. So it's somebody who's really looking at it in a very, very complex way, and probably takes more time to develop their criticism of the play because they're looking at all the different categories. So critics are above all vital participants in the entire theatrical experience. Anybody who comes to watch the play is the whole purpose for doing the play in the first place. So you can see why it's a very important part and something we always want to be thinking about when we are preparing. So I hope that clarifies some of the concepts in this chapter.